wherever you are. I hope you're fine. I hope you're on an airplane, ultimately to your destination. I just got an email from someone who has been emailing me on the Purdue Northwest story. Of course, we're going to talk about that today. But this person, not going to gender her, just to protect the person, or him, or her, or whatever. The person said that their plane or their flight had been canceled. It was a Southwest flight. I mean, I'm telling you, all us Southwesties are now being forced to come to grips with the fact that the so-called love airline in the past is now anything but love. It's not modern, and maybe it wasn't such a great idea to have like one plane, 737s, and cannibalize all these 737s and save money there, because clearly they saved there, but they didn't spend on IT and on software, scheduling software and the like. So what am I going to do with all my Southwest points now? Anyway, welcome to Emil Amok's Takeout, my takes on all things considerable. This is our talk show, our good old-timey, old-fashioned talk show. Imagine, say, Rush Limbaugh if he were less big. I don't want to fat shame him, but if he were less big, less conservative, and more Filipino, that would be what this show is about. My takes on all things considerable. That is kind of an inside joke. If you know some of you might know my background on a show that featured my takes on all things considerable, unlike this show. Anyway, we're here Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Live. I said I was going to do something different this week. I was going to do shorter shows because right now my wife and we're involved in a big debate. Should we have another dog? And I love dogs. I'm almost agnostic. Dog, cat. I mean, I love them all. And certainly I don't eat any of them. All right, that's a bad Asian joke, but I'm Asian. So should we have another dog? The pros are it's Christmas, and of course you got to save the dogs. You know, this news about how cold it is throughout the United States because of this generational storm. It's cold. They are discovering more and more people who died from the cold because they were trapped. No one got to them. I mean, it's sad. But here's the thing. They're discovering, they mention the people, which is important. There are dozens upon dozens. I have last count over 60. I mean, over 30 in just the Buffalo area alone, and they're discovering more people. It's just heartbreaking. But you know, and it's important to count the human deaths, but think of the untold number of animals, the dogs and cats, who were always outdoor dogs and cats, maybe even during the storm. I mean, we know there are some parts of the country where they tie up dogs to chains, or they chain them up to the doghouse outside. They don't bring them in. They're outdoor dogs. I hate to say that, but that is the fact. And they don't have enough sense to bring them in. I'm talking about places around the PETA office in Norfolk, Virginia, like outside of North Carolina and Virginia. People are out there providing straw for dogs in the cold. If you go to the PETA podcast, the new one, which dropped today, there's some tips on how to winterize and protect your cats and dogs, your companion animals, from the cold. So I'm thinking about that. And you know, shelters are a bad place right now. And so we're just going back and forth. Do we want to rescue another dog? And I'm thinking, yeah, but we have two great companions. We're going back and forth. It's not easy. If I have a second dog tomorrow, you'll know it's because I thought, what the heck? We got to give them a good life. Anyway, so that's the debate here in my household. I've been paying attention to the news, although, if you've listened to our shows, the last 3 or 4 shows, we've been focused on this Purdue Northwest, which is it's a part of Purdue University. It's there in Hammond, Indiana. If you check out my column on the Inquirer.net, it's the website for the Filipino diaspora, wherever you are, Canada, North America, U.S. And I put up my column there because the racist slur of Thomas Keon should impact, or should really, Filipino Americans should understand this and why it's important. Why a university official's joke is no laughing matter. And we're talking about Chancellor Thomas Keon, CEO of Purdue University. Because Filipinos know all about Asian American hate. Because when we talk about Asian American hate, they don't just go after Chinese. They don't go after Hmong, Vietnamese. If you've got some Asian in you, they're coming after you. And how many times has the organization Stop AAPI Hate said that Filipinos, among the top victims, it's women, it's older people, and then in terms of ethnicity, Filipinos in the crosshairs. So Filipinos know all about Asian American hate. And when you talk about the numbers of transgressions against Asian Americans that Stop AAPI Hate has come up with, 11,000 in about 2.5 years. Filipinos are among the leading people who are victimized by the hate perps. So Filipinos should be sensitive to the racist slur of Chancellor Thomas Keon and why this matters, and why it's not enough that the Board of Trustees of Purdue University, which oversees Purdue University Northwest, a reprimand isn't enough. A reprimand is like a tap on the wrist. A reprimand doesn't come close to equaling the kind of hate that is experienced by those who are impacted by the racial or the racist slur of Thomas Keon. And as I point out in my column, if you want more than a reprimand, and I think we're all in agreement, a reprimand isn't enough. Now, the only one who can say go above the reprimand and punish Chancellor Thomas Keon appropriately would be the president. And it's not going to be Mitch Daniels, the outgoing president, who steps down on December 31st, because the new president who comes in January 1st is one Mung Chang, an Asian American. And that is going to be, I think that's going to be a test. That's going to be a test of where we are as a community. And maybe a show of how diverse we are, that we're not all as woke as we think we are, which is why we've got to speak out and talk about Thomas Keon, and why I continue to do so even after the reprimand. And if you are are new to the story, new to the show, well, catch my columns at, as I said, on Inquirer.net, the Philippine Inquirer website, or on ALDEF, the Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund, the ALDEF blog, because I lay it out there. This started December 10th, Purdue University Northwest at the commencement. Here's Keon, a white educated man in accounting who acted like the dumb white insensitive male and makes this accented joke, says that it's an Asian accent, which is the astonishing act of self-awareness that you can only find in a racist. So he admits it, and if you want to see it on tape, it's on YouTube. Go to my columns, like I said, on ALDEF, aaldef.org/blog, and there's a link that'll take you to the clip. You can also go to Inquirer.net. Link takes you to the clip, and you can see the speaker. Prior speaker gets some polite applause. He sits down. Keon, in full regalia, in his cap and gown, gets up and trying to match the humor. Apparently, the speaker before, you can watch that. The speaker before it did a doggerel joke, did not identify it as any ethnicity. It's just plain doggerel. It was funny. The chancellor, trying to capitalize on that, does his Asian accent, identifies it as Asian, hence makes it an intentional slur, hence makes it even more reprehensible than just a mere doggerel joke that coincidentally sounds Asian. This is why Thomas Keon deserves more than a reprimand. And, the weird thing is that there are a lot of people out there. I mean, the columns have been tweeted out, and I appreciate that if you're out there tweeting it. There have been some people saying, I mean, it was really kind of surprising that one guy talking about how, one guy tweets out, "We will not stop until action is taken. Thomas Keon is a racist and needs to be fired," which is the kind of reaction I'd expect, from Asian Americans. Because what they're doing is they're expecting that, Asian Americans aren't going to say anything. At Purdue University Northwest, there's just 3% of the population there. So, they're not going to say anything. But yeah, I think, I'm just looking at the response when I tweeted this out from the ALDEF column and I tweeted it out from Inquirer.net, people are discovering this story, and it's about time because it is really the Asian American story of the moment. Here's a guy who is the head of a university, Purdue University Northwest, Hammond, Indiana, tells this racist slur of a joke, and thinks, hey, I guess he thinks he's Louis C.K. or something, right? Hey, no harm, no foul. No, lots of harm, big foul. You need to go. You need to resign. And as I pointed out, there have been a number of, there have been actions by the faculty senate calling for Keon's resignation. He won't go. And then there was a vote of no confidence that he ignored. So that means that it's up to you. Individual Asian Americans, parts of groups. There was an Asian American group in Indiana that has called for Keon's resignation. There are Asian Americans who are part of national groups who are calling for Keon's resignation, because clearly a reprimand isn't enough. And then, as I said, I got this email from a faculty person. She says, "I'm still disturbed by the reprimand by the Purdue Board of Trustees normalizing Chancellor Keon's behavior. With a vote of no confidence by faculty and global outrage, there are stories in Europe, in Great Britain and the UK, talking about this incident. This is a university leader, right? Thomas Kean, Chancellor, Purdue University Northwest, using this. You hear it. You know the accent. I don't have to go in and say, I don't even have to say, that ching chong voice. You hear it. You've heard it all your lives if you're Asian American. And so this faculty member said the Board of Trustees made a public statement normalizing Keon's behavior towards Asian and Asian American students, faculty, staff, and the community. Whether or not this was intentional or a failed joke, Chancellor Keon does not deserve a pass. This is not the leadership behavior of an administrator that touts his role leading the university on diversity issues. And then I asked this of the faculty member: will this make racism more tolerated at Purdue Northwest? And the faculty member answers yes. Unfortunately, Keon's behavior and response has been normalized by a majority white board of trustees and PNW, Purdue Northwest senior leadership team, and supports white privilege in academia. And this is the hurtful thing, right? That this is all the establishment could muster against the racism. All they could muster was, and this is really a paraphrase of their response. Oh, it's racist, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's racism. They all say that. I was surprised that even the New York Times writer, who I guess his column only goes to newsletter people, but John McWhorter said, oh, when is a racist joke not deserving of cancellation? Essentially advocating to save the job of this white administrator. Now that's kind of a generational thing. Here's McWhorter's fairly old, backing the people who have propped him up in his academic career. Turnabout is fair play here. They saved him, or they propped him up, so he's going to save them. Oh, he even says it's racism. You're going to hear the mob mentality from all those woke people, but it's not that bad. This is why I didn't really, I commented on it before Christmas, but I didn't write about it really until after, because I didn't want to get bogged down by this, holiday charity for the white male. I mean, the white male will live and die by his actions. And I think everyone can see that using that Asian accent was not the proper action for a leader of a you can call Purdue a major public institution. U.S. News and World Report puts it up there. One of the most innovative colleges. Innovative for its racism? Don't know. But I think the reaction by some people, that reprimand is it. This is all they got. They can't go beyond reprimand. Because why? Maybe it's because Asian Americans don't count. I mean, that's a possibility. Do Asian Americans count? If we count, then you should stand up, you should write, you should call Purdue University Northwest, and let them know that this kind of racism in 2022 is not acceptable. Not acceptable. I mean, yeah, we know Black Lives Matter. Yes, we know. Asian lives matter too. And we've had 11,000 hate instances since the pandemic began. This is according to Stop AAPI Hate. We should have learned our lesson after President 45, the twice impeached Donald Trump, began scapegoating Asian Americans for what he called the Kung Flu and China virus. And that really led to, I guess if the president does that, it's okay. We can do that too. And you saw a lot of anti-Asian hate. So is there reason to be sympathetic? I think I'm being sympathetic to Keon. He's had a great career. He's bounced around university to university, has ended up at Purdue University Northwest. I think the time has come for him to step down. He's not a comedian. He's not a provocateur. He's not someone who, well, he wasn't doing this to spark debate. He was doing this because he holds these views in his heart. And this was the right time. The commencement, graduating class, December 10th, to unleash a racist joke. This is someone who shows or lacks the kind of sensibility to lead a diverse university in 2023. So it really is up to this guy. I mean, if the board won't reprimand, or I mean, if the board won't go beyond reprimand, then it really is up to Mung Chiang, Dr. Mung Chiang. I mean, if you look at Mung Chiang's bio, this guy is an academic superstar. I mean, he's from Hong Kong, secondary school, came to Stanford as an immigrant, BS with honors in electrical engineering and mathematics, MS and PhD in electrical engineering from Stanford. Went to Princeton, was a star. He was the endowed professor in electrical engineering, holder of 25 patents, named New Jersey's CEO of the Year in 2014, founded 3 companies. This guy is your science entrepreneur, right? I mean, he's not your tweed coat academic. This guy's a doer. I mean, you could see why Purdue likes this guy, Mung Chiang. Immigrant, go-getter. And, you know, it really gives it away in his bio about where he stands politically, is that he took some time off. I mean, he went from Princeton to Purdue. He headed up the electrical engineering department for the last 5 years. And for 1 year, he went to work for the Trump administration for perhaps the most xenophobic, racist administration in terms of Asian American Asian American. They're Chinese in America. So by virtue of being in America, some of them were nationalized, some of them weren't. But one of the most xenophobic, racist plans, I mean, they had the anti-China policy, right? It still impacts university professors because they're Chinese. And Mung Chiang was their guy. So either Mung Chiang is, I know what to think. I mean, is Mung Chiang our Clarence Thomas? Or is he going to be our revolutionary first Asian American president of a major university? Well, he's not first of a major university, but he's Purdue's first Asian American, I believe. I mean, Mitch Daniels was the president of Purdue the last 10 years, and I doubt there was an Asian American face in the wall of portraits of Purdue presidents. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think Mung Chiang would be the first, which means, wow, what would it mean for Mung Chiang to step in on January 1st, his first day in office, and say, you know, I'm Asian American. I'm proud to have come here from Hong Kong, proud to have achieved, proud to have lived my life. I mean, he's fairly rah-rah. This guy's a rah-rah Asian. And Asian Americans, you know what I mean by this. I mean, here's his statement when he was appointed president. It is the highest and most humbling honor to be selected by the Board of Trustees as the next president of Purdue University, the unique and most remarkable land-grant institution in the land of the free. Already you get a sense of his rhetoric. Throughout the past 153 years and spanning from Wabash River to the moon, generations of Boilermakers contributed to our state, to our country, and to humanity in immeasurable ways. There is no other place like Purdue. Oh, yeah? I mean, like compared to Palo Alto in California, where the weather is fairly temperate. You don't get, blasts of cold air and blizzards. No place. I guess there's no place on earth like Purdue, but would you rather be there? Clearly, he'd rather be in Purdue or at Purdue than in Palo Alto. Back to his statement. He says, and there is no other university leader like ours. President Mitch Daniels and the outstanding team built Purdue into the most consequential public university in the United States. Under Mitch's transformational leadership, our university attained the strongest academic reputation, from record-breaking enrollment to all-time high research excellence, from the Ever True campaign to the transformed campus. So he praises Mitch Daniels. The amazing success of the Daniels decade must continue, while my family and I are blessed with the pride of gold and black. That's what presidents say. I'm also humbled by a daunting task to ensure the continuity of today's momentum into the next giant leaps. So this is the next president of Purdue. Asian American, naturalized immigrant from Hong Kong, Mung Chiang. Smart guy. Is he going to go against Purdue and reprimand or go beyond the reprimand and fire Thomas Keon? I hope he does. Well, look, my hopes aside, I'm just reporting what Chang has said in the past and what he sounds like to me. Maybe he's going to surprise me. Maybe he'll be the guy who bends that arc of justice. Maybe. Or maybe he'll just say, Thomas Kean made a joke. Let's forgive and forget. We are big people. And I'm president of Purdue, Asian American, and I'm not bothered. Ha, 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 ha. Meanwhile, faculty members, like I said, have emailed me, and they say they don't have much hope. I don't have that much confidence that Chang will force Keon out. It's my understanding Dr. Chang is a friend of Daniels, who's a friend of Keon. And that's what's protecting the racist attitude at Purdue. If you're upset, check out my columns on the ALDEF blog, aaldef.org/blog, also at inquirer.net. Watch the link of the video and then send an email, a note. Send a note to Purdue. Send a note to Mung Chiang, the incoming president. January 1st, he becomes president. And that will be something. That will be something if Mung Chiang becomes the first Asian American president to fire the racist chancellor who told a bad joke. who told a bad Asian joke. That's almost too good to be true. But we have hope. So there's some other things to talk about. You know, this whole thing about cancellation and political correctness, this is not an act of political correctness. You know, me wanting Keon reprimanded. It's not a matter of being woke, wanting cancellation. It's a matter of what's right. It's a matter of what's right in terms of being a leader of a major public university, claiming diversity, and then having your chancellor and CEO tell an Asian joke. So I saw this story, though, that the right is using. I got this from a right-wing media site. Whoopi apologizes again after repeating remarks about the Holocaust. I'm still learning a lot. A lot of people got on Whoopi Goldberg for comments she made that people felt trivialized the Holocaust. She said it wasn't about race, and she apologized. Well, now she gave an interview, and she was suspended for those comments in February. But she gave another interview recently to the Sunday Times of London, and she said, "My best friend said, not for nothing is there no box on the census for the Jewish race. So that leads me to believe that we're probably not a race," Whoopi said while discussing her latest role in the critically acclaimed film about Emmett Till, the 14-year-old black Chicago youth who was brutally murdered in Mississippi in 1955. It doesn't change the fact that you could not tell a Jew on the street. You could find me, Whoopi said. You couldn't find them. That was the point I was making, she said of the controversy over her prior remarks. But you would have thought that I'd taken a big old stinky dump on the table, butt naked. All right, so this is Whoopi being Whoopi. I don't know Whoopi personally. I've seen her shows when she did her one-man shows. My heart goes out to Whoopi. I mean, I think I met her once or twice when she was in the Bay Area. But a lot of people are just freaking out by her statements. The Anti-Defamation League said that her recent remarks, deeply offensive. And others are demanding that she be fired from ABC. Here's the difference between Whoopi and Thomas Kean. Thomas Kean of Purdue. Thomas Kean is a serious man. He poses as a serious man. He poses as a leader of major public institution, Purdue University Northwest. He's not a comedian. He's not really a provocateur. He's an administrator who stands for diversity. Whoopi Goldberg is a kind of provocateur, loudmouth comedian, says what she will. And in many ways, she should be more responsible. But when she says something as a comedian, as a public person, it's only a call for debate, not a debate for her job necessarily, not a debate for her cancellation or for her head. It's a call for a debate of the issues. If she says, whatever she says about the Holocaust, if it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's debatable, we can debate it, and public opinion will be what it is. But is that a fireable offense? I mean, people are calling for taking off The View. But, so that's the difference between Whoopi, who is an entertainer, a provocateur, this is her job on The View. She's not the leader of a public institution that takes public monies where she has a certain responsibility to you, the taxpayer, in terms of her views on controversial issues. In fact, Keon shouldn't have views on controversial issues, truth be told. That's not his job. His job is as administrator. He failed. That's why he has to go when he started making those jokes about Asian Americans, or he started using that Asian accent. Whoopi Goldberg, she should just apologize, and she's doing it profusely. She came out with an apology yesterday, issuing a statement, profusely apologizing, and now insisting that the Holocaust was about race after all. First, she said it wasn't about race. Now she says it was. She says, recently, while doing press in London, I was asked about my comments from earlier this year. I tried to convey to the reporter what I had said and why, and attempted to recount that time. It was never my intention to appear as if I was doubling down on hurtful comments, especially after talking with and hearing people like rabbis and old and new friends weighing in. I'm still learning a lot, and believe me, I heard everything everyone said to me. I believe that the Holocaust was about race, and I'm still as sorry now as I was then that I upset, hurt, and angered people. My sincere apologies again, especially to everyone who thought this was a fresh rehash of the subject. I promise it was not. In this time of rising anti-Semitism, I want to be very clear when I say that I always stood with the Jewish people and always will. My support for them has not wavered and never will. So, Whoopi Goldberg has apologized again after making comments that upset her critics. Like I said, I accept her apology. I mean, people were hurt. I wasn't necessarily hurt by her comments. I thought her comments were a call for debate. We know that what she said was wrong, but I didn't see it as a cancelable, fireable thing. But a lot of people have seen these new comments that she's made during Hanukkah, no less, and they're getting on her. And now here's one Twitter person who says, Whoopi Goldberg continues to use the Holocaust as her punching bag. We told her that her comments harm us, and she simply doesn't care. I survived the Nazis and the Holocaust, so I'll be damned if I let a comedy has-been peddling a fake Jewish name get the better of me. Well, that's a little. Look, Whoopi is sorry. She apologizes. But like I said, the difference between her and Thomas Kean of Purdue is Kean is a serious man. He is the leader of an institution of higher ed using taxpayer dollars. He needs to be responsible. He deserves to be fired for his racist comments. Whoopi, she needs to apologize, and she needs to know and express why and how she is wrong. But that's it for Whoopi. So that was the story today that really got me. I just watching the movement in the social media about Whoopi, and I feel for her. She, like a lot of people in the media, they say things that they later regret. But big difference. She is not, when she makes a faux pas, it's a call to debate. She loses, she owns up to it, she apologizes if she was wrong and said something offensive, which she did this time. I think she is paying the price. Kean, Purdue, not paying the price. He needs to. He really needs to. All right, we're going to wrap up. I said I wasn't going to go very long, but here I am. I've gone now about 42 minutes. Regular listeners to the show know, well, we're here Monday through Friday. 2 p.m. Pacific Live. My takes on all things considerable. WDAAAT. What does an Asian American think? Yeah. We got to ask that question because no one ever asks us. Well, if you want to know what an Asian American thinks, on Thursday, February 16th, I'm going to be at the New York City Frigid Fringe under St. Mark's on St. Mark's Place, New York City. Thursday, February 16th, 8:10 p.m. I got 7 dates. Saturday, February 18th, 5:20 p.m. Thursday, February 23rd at 6:30 p.m. Saturday, February 25th at 12:20 p.m. Oh, a nooner. Sunday, February 26th at 7 p.m. Going up against that 60 minutes. Friday, March 3rd, 8:10 p.m. That might be a good show. I've done it a few times, and you'll say, God, he's just going to stop here? He's got to keep going. No, there's one more show. Saturday, March 4th at 10:20 p.m. Shouldn't you be asleep, Emil? Oh, we'll see. I'll be in New York. Anyway, it's at the New York City Frigid Fringe. I'll tell you how to get tickets, but I wanted to put the times out there so you know that there are multiple times. Tickets are very reasonable. If you can't be in New York live, you can see it via, I think they're going to live stream it. They are going to live stream. You can buy a live stream ticket and catch the show. I do 7 shows. They're all different because who knows what I'll focus on, but I'm focusing on being an Asian American, being an Asian American Filipino, and what that's meant to my career, what that's meant to my love life, what that's meant to my family life. There's a lot of Filipino American history, and it's the yoke of history, how that is something we don't shake. So it's not, is it stand up? Is it a rant? There's some jokes, but it's story. I tell a story. And I tell an authentic one. And wouldn't you know, February 16th is the day my father became a citizen. So it's going to be a show that you're not going to want to miss. Emil Amok, lost NPR host found under St. Mark's. So you know where to find me. February 16th through March 4th. I'll tell you when to get tickets, but I just want you to know about the dates. And so now you know. At this point, we should wipe. Always wipe. You always wipe. The news talk utensil here. Is it a utensil? It's an effect. So back and forth wipe. Regular listeners to the show know that I like to meditate. Meditation has helped me every time. In fact, if I had meditated more, I'd be further along in my career. I just know that. And I went amok, and I should have just said, look, I am okay. I am okay. I know, but see, here's the thing. You don't get that sense without time, without experience, without a sense of wisdom, however much you can stand, however much you can gather up. But I see that now. Meditation has helped me. And a lot of it also is a sense of self-love, self-care. So I always like coming to the end because this is where I do my, I do my metta, my loving self-kindness, my loving kindness meditation, where you say the chants, you envision someone who you love, maybe envision someone you barely know, maybe someone you hate, And then all the world, you tout le monde, you think about. And you say these little chants. And you'll find that it comes back to you. In multiple globs of feeling, of love, of emotion. The better for you to self-care. And so here's what you say. As I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo here. Back again tomorrow. Might be a repeat. Might be live. I'll be here 2 p.m. Pacific, streaming right here. Until then, mahal